Hello, my name is Anwar and for my interpretive speech presentation, I'll be dramatically reading the poem The Mountain by Robert Frost. So here we go. The mountain hid the town as in a shadow. I saw so much before I stepped there once. I noticed that I missed stars in the west, where its black body cut into the sky. Near me it seemed, I felt it like a wall, behind which I was sheltered from a wind. And yet between the town and it I found, when I walked forth and down to see new things, were fields, a river beyond more fields. The river at the time was falling away, and made a widespread bowl of cobblestones, but the signs showed what it had done in spring. Good grassland galled out, and in the grass ridges of sand and driftwood stripped of bark. I crossed the river and swung round the mountain, and there I met a man who moved so slow, with white-faced oxen and a heavy cart. It seemed no hand to stop him altogether. What town is this? I asked. This? Lunenburg. Then I was wrong, the town of my sojourn. Beyond the bridges was not that of the mountain, but only felt at night its shadowy presence. Where is your village? Very far from here. There is no village, only scattered farms. We were but 60 voters last election. We can't in nature grow too many more. That thing takes all the room. He moved his god. The mountain stood there to be pointed out at. Pasture ran up their side a little way, and then there was a wall of trees with trunks. After that only tops of trees and cliffs, and perfectly concealed among the leaves, a dry ravine emerged from under the poles into the pasture. That looks like a path. Is that the way to reach the top from here? Not for this morning, but for some other time. I must be getting back to breakfast now. I don't advise you trying from this side. There is no proper path, but those that have been up, I understand, have climbed from lads. That's 5 miles back. You can't mistake the place. They logged it there last winter some way up. I take you, but I'm bound the other way. You've never climbed it. I've been on the sites, deer hunting and trout fishing. There is a brook that starts up on it somewhere, I've heard say, right on the top, tip top, a curious thing. But what would interest you about the brook? It's always cold in summer, warm in winter. One of the great sights to go is to see its steam in winter like an ox's breath, until the bushes all long banks are inch deep with the frosty spines and bristles. You know the kind, then let the sun shine on it. There ought to be a view around the world. From such a mountain, if it isn't wooded clear to the top, I saw through leaf screens great granite terraces in sun and shadow. Shelves one could rest a knee on getting up, with depths behind him sheer 100 feet, or turn and sit on it and look out and down, with little ferns in creases at his elbow. As to that I can't say, but there's the spring, right on the summit, almost like a fountain. That that ought to be worth seeing. Is it there? You never saw it. I guess there's no doubt about its being there. I never saw it. It may not be right on the very top. It wouldn't have to be a long way down to have some head of water from above, and a good distance down might not be noticed by anyone who'd come a long way up. One time I asked a fellow climbing it to look and tell me later what it was. What did he see? He said there was a lake somewhere in Ireland, somewhere on a mountain top. But a lake's different. What about the spring? He never got up high enough to see it. That's why I don't advise you trying this side. He tried this side I'd always meant to go, and looks myself, but you know how it is. It doesn't seem so much to climb a mountain. You've worked around the foot of all your life. What would I do? Go in my overalls with a big stick, the same as with the cows, having come down to bar at milking time, or with a shotgun for a stray black bear. Wouldn't seem really to climb for climbing it. I shouldn't climb it if I didn't want to, not for the sake of climbing it. What's its name? We call it hole. I don't know if it's that right. Can one walk around it? Wouldn't it be too far? You can drive around and keep in Lunenburg. That's as much as ever you can do. The boundary lines keeps it so close to it. Hall is the township, and township's hall. A few houses sprinkled around the foot, like boulders broken off the upper cliff, rolled out a little further than the rest. Warm in December, cold in June. You say? I don't suppose the water's changed at all. You and I know enough to know it's warm compared with cold, and cold compared with warm. But all the fun is how you say a thing. You have lived here all your life, ever since home was no bigger than what I did not hear. He drew the oxen toward him and light touches of his slim guard on her nose and offside flank, gave him their marching orders and was moving. This was written by Robert Frost. Thank you.